out. Wait, this is the first.
Old acquaintance.
Happy New 2017! Hey!
Hooray!
Fuck 2016.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Fuck that,
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Ferret can't join us tonight, so 2017 is already a disappointment, just like his worthless brother.
Hey. Ferret is dead. Long live the ferret. But yeah, is this the first stream we've done since Christmas time? It is, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
I would know.
Right.
I was very, very excited to be on this one as well.
That's true. That's true. Fair enough. I got a few things for Christmas, one of which was a bowler hat, which is fantastic. But the other one is this, which is jalapeno beer. I am very interested in finding out what it tastes like, and I've saved it just for this fucking event. So I shall be opening that and consuming it over the course of the stream. But more importantly, we've got fucking guests. We've got Chuck Finley, of all people. How the fuck we landed
Hey,
guys! Hey! Enthusiasm!
Finally here. After like 2 whole years of working every single Sunday night at 1 in the morning.
And it's your lifelong dream of being on a very minor internet podcast has been realized.
Well, to be honest, also my lifelong dream of not being at work at 1 in the morning has also been realized. That's
a pretty good dream.
It's important to have goals in life, and not working. That's a good goal.
Then again, what is the eventual goal is to not work at all because you'll be just sitting on your pile of royalty monies from all the stories you've written.
There we go.
That's the long term hope, yeah.
Yeah, that's the long term.
See, this is why I like him, because my goal is actually just to leech off of his success. And a literal gold digger.
Excellent.
Yeah,
glad we know where we all stand here. Oh dear! Welcome to the cast.
Should we start the stream or?
The stream has started. It's been going.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
We're live. Welcome to Seattle's English Podcast.
I'm so professional.
It's
live.
Professional.
Right, it's orange. It says live in orange.
It does. How did you? Yeah. It doesn't say dead.
I'm orange black colorblind, so I can't read the name there. Yeah.
I mean, orange is the new black after all. Damn it! We went for the same goddamn joke.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
You guys are redundant. Plum is the older one. We're going to upgrade to the new younger model. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Am I actually the new younger model? I have no idea how old any of you are except the one that I'm sleeping with.
I'm
like
a month younger than her, so. Yeah.
Oh, really? Fair enough.
You are all
old people. Old fogies. Right. So, on with the stream. We are, in fact, live, Pav. Thank you for joining us.
Hey!
In fact, actually, thank you for joining us, because this is, like, the first time you've turned up in months.
Yeah, I have been a non-entity in basically past minutes. Yeah. So.
I mean, Monochromatic literally died, but you figuratively died, so basically the same thing.
No, I kind of physically died too. So.
Oh yeah, that did happen, didn't it? Yeah.
Wait, what
happened? Everyone seems to be dying at the moment.
Died?
Is this some new trend I should be getting on?
Are you still alive?
No. I mean, all your friends are jumping off the bridge arch. You should probably, follow them.
Yeah, you're right. I'll do that.
That's what my mum always said. I mean, I've had enough attention.
Someone should probably start us off on a discussion, or we're going to go around all night explaining how we've all died.
I mean, I did get hit by a car yesterday, so
Oh, again?
Oh my god!
Yeah, again. I like how that's your immediate response.
It's only the first day of the new year, Plum. Come on.
But no, so, you did get hit by a car like 4 months ago or something, right?
Yeah.
I thought you crashed into a wall.
No, I crashed into a wall on the way to Buck.
But I was going to say you're driving all the way to Brony.
Driving along to Brony. Yeah, I hit
into a seawall, maybe.
Yeah.
It's a very long.
Across that large Atlantic Ocean bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Is this alcohol related or bonbon related or both?
Just drink.
Just drink. Fair enough. But no,
Actually, that was very nice tonic water. And just. How about we talk about the last set of reviews? Who was on them?
You and me.
That was Red.
They've not been released yet.
No, they haven't. I keep on meaning to fucking add mine to the
I was gonna say,
document.
the last two that I got to see were Red and Ferrets. I was waiting on seeing I was like looking like, oh, I should see what we're going to talk about this week, and it's like,
yeah, I keep on getting.
I
keep on dying.
Oh, guys, I've got a really bad joke. It's so bad that it'll physically hurt you and make you wish I was dead.
Go on.
Okay.
Fantastic. We love those jokes.
No.
The difference
I think Scarlett knows what it is.
between a hippo and a zippo.
No.
Difference between a hippo and a zippo.
One's very heavy, the other is a little lighter.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Fucking Christ.
If I could stab you through the screen.
You just killed Red.
Everyone's dying.
My
It's
boyfriend,
the
ladies and
fashionable
gentlemen.
thing to do.
This is what we do.
That made me literally die for a second there.
Yep.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Yep.
You killed
Okay.
Red.
So yeah, we should acknowledge the elephant in the room, which is Chuck Finley. Welcome to the stream, man. Welcome to having a Sunday evening for once. And
It's good.
it is good. It is nice to not be working at 1 o'clock in the morning. I can confirm this. Believe it or not. We should probably get talking about your stories and shit, seeing as you're an author. Let's first talk about who the fuck you are, seeing as we don't have Ferret to explain everything for us. Who the hell are you?
I wrote some really bad stories on fiction. I finished three of them.
No, he's not allowed to talk about himself anymore because he's self-deprecating. I'll do the hype.
Everyone. Okay, we'll hear Chuck Finley's version, and then you can give that hype
how many of
translation.
my adventure stories have I finished? Compared to the number I've started.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Did you just post a blog about that, Arch?
Yes, I did.
I'm getting back into it. I'm finishing on now. The document open another tab. You know, I'm being almost productive and on film fiction since the beginning of time. And I'm so old. I can remember when things like I can remember when Fallout Equestria wasn't finished.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was a
I can
fun
remember
time.
when I can remember when people still thought My Little Dashie was really sad. That's I'm a fandom old man now.
Yeah, no, I'm of a similar fandom age to you, I feel, because I remember reading Fallout Equestria when it was updating via GDocs on Equestria Daily, and
Yeah.
That was.
I remember reading
those were fun days.
Daily.
Yeah. I remember Equestria Daily once. Yeah. Yeah, go on.
The My Little Pony fandom, it's a bit like Detroit.
Oh God.
Oh, please not that.
You kind of go there, and it like Detroit or like Birmingham. You know, like just you go there, and it's nice and it's flashy and it's all right, and there's cars being made and everything's really cool, and you can see it. You know, kind of like start up, but you stay in the same fandom so long that you're there when the urban decay sets in, and the buildings, and
are we
with your other friends, and you've got a coke habit now.
Are we in that era? Yeah, that is Birmingham. Yeah.
I was about to say,
we need
I'm
to,
just sitting here going like, did anyone ever intentionally go to Detroit? Ever? Was there
We
ever?
need to identify which parts of the fandom have been gentrified and which still have urban blight in them.
we need to point out the tire fires.
I think actually Birmingham is like quite like it, because actually, like, if you ever go to Birmingham in England, you kind of go to like a lot of places and you're like, oh, that's shiny and new, and that looks like a city where people would live, and there's nice things. And then you turn around and it looks like the Germans got through with it in 1943. It looks like they're still clearing the rubble from the bombs. They haven't updated it since they were still whipping children to kind of do the work there. It feels like
you're saying that like they
kind of like it's lots of really, really good nice things surrounded by kind of persistent urban decline, and this is where I've made my home.
That sounds about right. That's been my general impression of Birmingham so far.
Mine too.
Here's hoping we live in one of the nicer districts of the internet brony version of Birmingham or whatever this metaphor is. It's kind of gone a bit twisted.
This metaphor is Chuck Finley managed to introduce himself without actually mentioning the name of a single story he actually wrote.
I wrote.
So I'm going to do it for him because he's too embarrassed, apparently. Unless he wants to override me. I'm giving him 3 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead. No, she can do it. She's better.
All right, so if you've been around since the very early days of the fandom, you might remember Pipsqueak's Day Off, which is...
I do. That is the thing.
That was one of his earliest stories, and more recently, I think his last big feature box break-in was A Persimmon Spring, which is one of the best short stories in the entire damn fandom. I will fight you.
No, don't get it from me.
I will fight you 1v1, and I will stab you with my keys, because I am evil.
Yeah, 1v1 IRL.
She does like her keys.
They're shiny and jangly, and they're mine. So...
Fair enough. Glad to have you here, dude.
Like, A Persimmon Spring really confused me because it was, like, looking back, it's a very good story. But I did write it in about 6 hours, like start to finish. It was.
I was there. I saw him literally write it in G-Docs in 6 hours.
I never
Zero
had
editing.
sweat over that one.
Bloody hell, writing a full story in 6 hours. That's not something everyone can do.
I mean, I can kind of relate to that a little bit. I mean, you know, from like experience doing like the write-offs and, you know, a couple of my stories, you know, took, you know, like months to write, and a couple of them, you know, just rushed out in a weekend. And sometimes when you are either under that time crunch or when you're just not overthinking it, you know, and you're just going to let the words flow out, just sometimes that is just purer, I guess.
You can get a lot of time when you're kind of tapping away, and you feel like you're spending hours and hours and hours writing, but actually you're not. You're thinking about the same 4 or 5 paragraphs.
Oh yeah.
Hours and hours ago, and it's actually the fact that kind of taking so long, and it's probably the sign that there's either something weak with the story or you're not invested in that. So that's kind of, I think that's why, you know, when you can end up with stories that you have kind of sweated and bled and sweated more into, cried into. That's the other one. That's the other fluid.
Of course.
There are other fluids that don't go into stories. There are other fluids that don't go into the stories I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
We're just sitting here going
when
like...
you do that, you know, it can feel like a lot of hard work, but it's actually just your self-doubt telling you how writing over and over, and very occasionally your self-doubt's right, and that's why sometimes the very quick stories turn out very good.
Fair enough. So that's one of your latest stories, and Scarlett mentioned one of your very earliest stories, which I do remember reading back in the day. Jesus Christ, how long ago was that story written?
That was 2012.
3 years? Yeah.
2012.
Wow.
Jesus.
So we're getting 5 years ago now.
Christ.
Yeah. That's my general feeling with this fandom. Every now and again, I think like, hey, it's about 6 years since I first got into My Little Pony. What the fuck is my life?
We've genuinely kind of grown old now. You know, we are. You know, it's like you've come from kind of being, you know, a weird, you know, kind of 20-year-old who was kind of doing that to a weird, like, grown-up who's doing it. You know,
my life could not have changed more drastically in the space of this pony thing that I'm in. Like, I started it when I was in education, you know, I was planning, I'm going to go to university and all that sort of thing. Now I'm getting a mortgage house. I'm an adult. I have responsibilities. I mean,
it's very nearly a quarter of your life, isn't it?
You just can't quite leave.
Hang on, it's 6 years. 6 years, and I'm... Yeah, it is slightly more than a quarter of my life.
Oh.
It's very Hotel California.
Shit, you know? Wait, I'm older than you?
Yeah, I'm 23.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Wait,
I've got
really?
you beat by 3 years.
Yeah.
What am I doing with my life?
I think I feel.
Do we need to pause for everybody to have an existential crisis?
I just like, if I were to randomly pick a day in
Nope,
my
nope.
life, there's a 1
I'll
in
do it
4
for all of
chance there is something to do with My Little Pony in that day. What the actual fuck?
Meanwhile, me and Arch are just shaking our head at the youngins.
No.
Yeah. 6 years
How many
is
of your-
actually a fifth of my life, just about. So I've spent slightly less time worried about pastel ponies, but not by much.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God I'm not the oldest person in the room. Okay.
No, of course
Not by a long shot, no.
Hi, Arch.
Thank God I did not want to have to be the mature one.
Arch,
Don't worry
do
about
that.
it. None of us are.
None of us are. We all need an adult. Pav, you
It
don't
is.
count.
It is weird to think
Oh.
that Pony like literally changed people's lives in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like I can barely even remember what life was like before Pony now.
It's
Yeah, I
really
mean,
weird.
And it sounds because you read all of, especially like in the early days of the fandom, you had all of those like, oh, you know, this show helped me with my depression. This show,
Yeah.
helped
I
me.
learned to
And,
make
like
friends.
some of those were kind of sweet. Some of them were just kind of like, I mean, it's both impressive and I'm trying to think of a way to say this, but just it's
I'm happy for you, but this feels a little bit awkward.
It was a little bit odd, yeah. But there were, I mean, we have, like the people, in this chat who, just, got significantly more into writing, or Plum, like I know you've been doing a whole bunch of different things with it's just like, it really has just, in whatever aspect, it really has shaped people's lives.
Meanwhile,
Well, I
Bonbon is
literally, I
interfering
met
with
my
Arch.
current boyfriend through it, and he's in the stream,
Yeah.
so there you go.
That was good. That
Yeah, I'm-
significant. Probably the best thing's come out of the fandom so far for me. That well. Yeah, no, definitely the best thing.
Oh, that
Hey, I'm true. I'm saying things that are
That was
truthful.
not
Proper word.
scripted. That was my chair actually falling.
You literally
Fucking
swept him off his
fantastic.
feet.
Hey!
I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I saw this
I,
a while ago.
my
It
cat
was
just started.
it was this person writing about the Twilight fandom. The vampires, the pretty ones, the
Right.
really pretty vampires, and the woman who is human but doesn't like people. That one.
Yeah.
Not the one about the bondage. Not that. That was the other one. No, not that one. The other one. Twilight.
Yeah.
That. Definitely
Yeah.
Twilight. But it was an essay saying about that, and it was saying because it was talking about because Twilight got so big overnight, and because Twilight, one of the places that really started off being really big was well, like teenage girls, obviously, but it was like Mormon teenage girls, kind of teenage girls where they would have been like in the market for, romance kind of novels, but you could only get a sparkly vampire abstinence book because things.
Actually,
And
scripture.
and it started, and it got really big, and it had a really big fandom. But it was like when you see most fandoms on the internet nowadays, like even like any of the cartoon fandoms, like Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, any of the fandoms like Orange is the New Black, TV stuff, whatever. It's usually a lot of people kind of migrating from other fandoms. So you get kind of fandom culture starting, but it's like there's like some kind of like
It's like a
fandom
rolling
sourdough
thing.
where you get a bit of yeasty bread and you're sticking it into the new fandom, and that's growing and taking over, and you're putting all that kind of old fandom stuff in it.
Yeah,
But
it's
Twilight
like
didn't have that. It was
it's
just
not like a
totally new
fandom stops
fandom.
and another one starts. It's kind of like a rolling thing where fandoms kind of rise like waves
Exactly,
in an
yeah.
ocean, kind of thing. Yeah.
And with the Twilight fandom, they didn't really have that. It didn't kind of come from anywhere. So they were all kind of discovering their new stuff. And it was really weird kind of reading about that and reading the comparison between kind of Twilight fandom and new fandoms and the way it kind of like rose up and then kind of died out at the end, and the kind of the different things that happened and different things. But it was really like,
Meteoric.
I recognize that. I've been through that. That happened the exact same in the My Little Pony fandom. It does feel like the exact same because I think one of the kind of fresh and kind of interesting things about the My Little Pony fandom was that it was really, it did not come from kind of traditional fandom spaces, and so it did the same stuff, but it kind of got there,
There is a comparison to be
like
made.
that.
I think it's fair to say that the MLP fandom hasn't had the same kind of hitting a brick wall end that Twilight has, because it's fair to say nobody fucking thinks about Twilight anymore. It's pretty dead.
Well, you know what this fandom actually is, and I'm going to weird you all out here. The closest analog I've ever seen to the Brony fandom is it's actually Toho fandom, which isn't really a thing in the US at all outside of like anime cons. But it's the best equivalent I can make because it's very, very the fandom comes more from what the fans have done than from the original product.
Yeah, nowadays.
Hey,
Like,
it's the
And
wife.
that's why it's so self-sustaining and it hasn't like
It's
died
my horse
off.
Bando.
Hi, Ferret.
Hi.
Oh, I found it.
I'm
I think
drinking
that's
jalapenos
totally apt.
Why are you drinking jalapenos, and how do you drink jalapenos?
in a bottle. It's jalapeno beer.
Jalapeno.
Okay,
It
that's
is
a little
a-
different. I thought you meant you literally just took jalapeno peppers and like mashed them in a blender.
I mean, they probably do.
Totally would.
Because
It's-
I
it
could
does
totally
have a
see
taste.
people do that. That's like the big thing these days is like, how many taste buds can I burn off in one sitting?
Oh boy, got through these
One
taste buds
of the
with a
really
red hot
important
knife.
things that my father taught me was that when you're drinking the brine out of a jar of pickled jalapenos, make sure you take the jalapenos out first. It really hurts if you
I
hit stuff in
mean-
the eye with a chopped jalapeno.
I'm wondering.
Why is he drinking brine?
I was gonna say, I feel like that's
It's
the
tasty,
first
salty.
big hurdle we have to get over
This
here.
entire family has made bad life decisions. That's why. That is the correct answer to this question, and we will say no more.
Wait,
I don't
literal
know. I mean, it
brine?
resulted in
Yeah,
Trump
you can
showing up, so it can't be all bad.
Mm.
Point. I would be sadder if he did not exist.
As
Yeah.
would we all.
Your
Oh,
family
Frank, you
did
missed
exist.
it. You missed it.
Only on this once.
Like just salt water? You're just drinking salt water?
Pretty
With,
much.
with
Yeah, but
jalapeno
salt water
flavoring.
had like jalapenos in it.
I
And
don't-
vinegar in it too.
okay.
This is a weird decision.
To Iconics here. Like, you've tried Scrumpy, right?
Sorry, say that again.
You've tried Scrumpy,
You've tried
right?
Scrumpy, right?
I've tried Scrumpy.
I'm not American enough or English
And it's
enough.
horrible, isn't it? Genuinely grim.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah.
I see.
And
And
the
that's
taste
why.
buds don't work like a humans do.
Mm.
I'm drinking it right now, and that's
The Scrumpy has affected.
I can never eat have human meals. It's just I just have to do strange things now, and that's my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Scrumpy has affected his brain. This is what's going on. Right. But yeah, you missed it
Well,
earlier,
now I'm
Ferret.
fine.
We were talking about the fandom, and Chuck said his favorite thing to come out of the fandom was Scarlet, and it was all very lovely.
Aww.
And we all
I
went,
literally
"Aw."
fell off my chair, and it was
Yeah,
unscripted.
She fell off her chair. But we're also talking about the way the fandom's developed, and like it's true to say that MLP, for a lot of people, myself included, has been a first fandom. Like I was not involved in any fandom before this. I liked a lot of shows, but I never really got involved in any sort of communities. This isn't true for everyone. I know for a fact Arch has been in fandoms for 30 fucking years, basically.
And, you know,
Um,
Aqua is
since I was
forever
born,
admitting that he was part of the Lion King fandom.
Yeah, and all that sort
Oh,
of
yeah.
I
shenanigans.
think at this point he's just kind of proud of it, considering how much he brings it up.
I mean, Arch's bio is I have fan fictions older than you, which is completely true in the case of me, probably.
I
So,
might be able to challenge that.
yeah.
Although speaking of meteoric rises of fandoms, another friend of mine is joined the Yuri on Ice fandom.
Oh my god, yes!
You-
And
Yuri,
apparently it was so big that like when the season finale came out, it broke Tumblr because so many people were
Yes.
talking about it.
In fairness,
Let me
Tumblr
put
does
it this
break
way,
a
there's a
lot on its
throwaway
own.
visual
It's not
gag.
Yuri on Ice is a Japanese sports anime television series about figure skating.
Yes, and apparently
Yeah,
the figure
yeah.
skating is actually like really legit. They don't use like
They got real
don't
figure
use-
skaters, it seems, and like traced off of them.
They don't
But
shoot laser
mostly
beams out of
it's
their
about
ice skates.
fan shipping.
Right.
Because they're constantly throwing characters together and be like, oh, they might do something. Oh my gosh! And so all the fangirls freak out. So it really
Of
should be
course.
more accurately titled Yahweh on Ice.
Yeah.
To be fair here,
Because there's,
unlike
like,
most
two
Yaoi on
girls
Ice
in the
series,
whole
it's
thing.
actually legitimately a gay love story, though. So
Yes.
There was this video I saw on Tumblr that was
what
like
if they actually
3 minutes of this girl just shrieking at the television every single time characters so much as glanced at each other.
Oh no, that's Tumblr. That is very Tumblr.
Yeah.
It is.
Anyway, but yeah, as we were saying, like we were talking about the way fandoms sort of evolve and mutate over the years, and like MLP has been a first fandom for a lot of people, but it's also not been the last for many. Like a lot of people get into MLP, and it's like the gateway drug to other fandoms.
Yeah. And
Like,
then they go into like a specific anime or Steven Universe or
Gravity Falls, or you know all
Mhm.
these other things. I've been fucking involved in the Gravity Falls fandom. There are weird bits of that fucking fandom too, and they look down on bronies. So shut the fuck up, Gravity Falls fandom. You're fucking weird. So, but yeah, it's
can we just
well,
erase
it's not just,
Gravity Falls from that sentence and just accept that fandom is inherently weird?
Yes.
yeah.
There's
I'm
always,
gonna-
you
I'm
know,
gonna
the
take it a
weird
step-
corners of the fandom.
I'm going to take it a step further and say humans are weird. If there is a group of more than about a dozen people, one of them is a fucking weird person.
Oh, so I'd
No.
narrow it down. I'd say at least like 6.
Archer Onyx has added Google effects.
Oh my
See?
God.
See?
That was an accident. I was
That
trying to
is so
find a
weird.
way of changing my.
Gosh.
Fuck
Oh.
it. You know, I'm just put hats on all again.
It's the Hangout toolbox. Hangout toolbox. Dude.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Are we going to
already-
draw over Cap's face again? Is this what's going on?
I already have a hat. I already have a hat.
I should
So
get my bowler hat. It's
Yes, you
downstairs.
should. Go
you
get it.
should.
Yeah, I'm
Dude.
going to go
Okay,
get my
bro.
bowler hat.
Pull the hat and tap dance for us. I demand it.
No.
No,
I
he looks really
refuse.
good in his bowler hat. He showed me a picture. It was really
I refuse such
in
a
your fucking
generous
3-piece
request.
suit.
He's too tall to tap dance.
This is true. This is true. It like takes a second or two from the impulses from my brain to reach my legs. So you know.
Yeah, it's
I
like
think
that old
Oh, if
those
you've got a bowler
dinosaurs
hat,
that have a second
Could you do
brain
that
around his
thing where,
hips.
like, you put a bowler hat on and then you hold up a Granny Smith apple in front of your face and you move the apple just
Oh.
slowly in front of the camera until you're that's the realist painting.
That's my new profile picture. I'm gonna do that. But I'm not gonna
There
do
we
it for
go.
this stream
That
because that
was
would require effort.
There we go.
Have we got? What have we?
Well, I can
who-
hear
what-
y'all, but I can't actually see anything right now. Google Chrome is giving me a nice little "I'm frozen and not responding."
Nice.
Good job, Google Chrome. Well done.
Excellent.
No
Well
wonder
done.
I don't
Good
use it.
job.
Yeah, where we had a good 15-20 minute discussion at the start of this of how to switch to say Twitch like other podcast people do. So
Yes.
it's fucking good.
Well, there we go. Now I'm back in the world of the living. All right.
Nice. Fantastic.
Heck, I
Session
have
in
questions
present
for
time.
you from other
Yes,
people.
go ask Chuck
Hello.
things.
One person wants to know why the hell do you never finish your stories?
Tell that person that we
Um,
are not fielding these questions. I will be acting as his press manager for the remainder of the
Sometimes lazy, but I am actually finishing the story now. I am currently working on chapter 8, I think, of the question. It should be finished either in the next couple of hours or maybe tomorrow night,
Excellent. Send
depending how productive I am
when it's
after
done.
this hangout.
I eagerly await it.
Me too.
Colton Gardez says, what kind of scene do you find the easiest to write? Also, what scenes do you find the hardest to write?
Yeah.
Is that acceptable, Scarlett?
We will let that through. Only because I like Colton Gardez's fiction, though.
Big is
Oh,
great
yeah.
fun.
I'm being
Okay,
very
easiest scene
biased.
to write is definitely dialogue. I can just write miles and miles of dialogue. It's just a very, very easy way to fill a ton of pages and not have to worry about anything and not have to do stuff. It's actually action, and by that I mean kind of like
All the
Kind
rest.
of like-
Stuff in benefit degree?
not so much even like that. I think in like films, you know, like blocking, like how, you know, what actors are on set, you know, kind of what they're doing, you know, their specific movements as they kind of go about the thing. It's a good bowler hat. That's
I'm sort of wondering where his neck has gone.
very
I can't put my headphones over this, so I'm having to kind of loop them around and rest it on the back of my neck. It's all a bit odd.
yeah, it's kind of like you get, because you know what it looks like in your head when you're writing it, and then you write the words down, and you're never quite sure if the words on the paper are describing what you're imagining in your head, or if they're describing something completely different, and you kind of need, that's the kind of thing that you do need someone else to kind of look over your work and either say, this makes no sense, or this does make sense, or this makes sense. You use too many words, so like half them out, and that's why editors are very good people and are better than writers.
Absolutely.
So you don't subscribe to the those who can't do, those who can't teach method?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
My mom's a teacher, Plum. I have a lot of issues with it in the first place, but I know some people who strongly believe in it, and they're wrong.
Yeah, extremely wrong. I'm going to take this off now because it's a bit...
Yeah.
A little too warm to wear wool?
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. It's just the headset thing is uncomfortable. But like, it's very important to get that second opinion, basically, because every time that you read or every time you write a scene, you are writing it with the very clear image of what you imagine in your head. Nobody else has that image. It can absolutely perfectly describe.
Would it be possible to try wear your bowler hat on top of the headphones and see if you can balance it there?
It's... I
Yeah.
suppose...
Maybe not.
Okay, so this is what I'm doing.
I like that, you know. That's...
This is your
So,
life now, Plum.
What fic is this going to inspire scenes for, Chuck? Because we know this has to make it into one now.
Yep.
Some stage.
Is it like, oh god, a unicorn trying to work out how they can fit a nice hat without poking a hole through it?
Which they've had like
already.
during like the CMC episodes that have like Sweetie Belle wearing a bike helmet, and it's like where how does her horn go?
Is her horn made of rubber?
It retracts into her head. It's like one of those down and it
Telescoping
disappears
horn.
and
It's like Bender's antenna. You can just go.
yes.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Yeah, that's all.
Comparing Sweetie Belle to Bender, something I never thought I'd hear.
Just threw it in.
Sweetie Bender. This is the story that has resulted from
Well, they are both robots after all.
Yeah, true enough.
It's true. It's true. Sweetie Bending Rodriguez.
New OTP.
Jesus Christ.
What have I done?
Oh,
That's
boy.
in there.
Oh,
There we go.
no.
What did you do?
I spilled jalapeno beer.
Smell like
That's
spice
what-
Oh, no.
forever now.
Fucking,
Yeah.
it's good.
Jalapeno
It's
beer
actually,
is no longer useful.
it's actually
Well-
surprisingly decent. There is a slight taste of jalapenos to it, but it's very slight.
So-
It's got a slight hint of lemon. So
That's it.
Never thought
Not
I'd hear
lemon,
those
lime.
words.
lime and
Did
hops.
the bottle?
and
Did the,
jalapeno.
Yeah,
did
lime
the
would be more
bottles?
plausible with
Did the bottles
jalapenos.
break?
Nope.
Back in one moment, I'm out of Scrumpy.
It just fell on the radiator, so it made a bit of a clang. So
Understandable.
See, that thing about Scrumpy you said earlier, it's kind of the same thing with gin. You know,
Oh god.
we actually use this stuff to make tonic water taste nicer.
yeah.
And this
Gotta get rid of
apparently
that
explains
somehow.
everything about the English psyche.
No, absolutely.
You need to take medicine. Well, let's mix alcohol into it. Problem
Yeah.
solved.
Really bad tasting alcohol.
Yes.
Like that.
This is a very weird thing to talk about.
Well,
I mean, if you want, I can
I'm
just pull up
worried for
Chuck's
my
like,
fate.
sick page and start asking him questions.
So Chuck just went out to get more Scrumpies, so I guess.
and this is
I'm just
also
responding to DMs. There we go. Right.
sort of emblematic of the English psyche. He's gone for more.
Hello,
Excellent.
everyone. I'm back. I've got
And
Scrumpy.
you're back?
All right, ask questions.
Yes.
Go for it, Ferret.
What's the story behind Luna and the Princess of Space?
Sorry.
Oh,
I like that.
My
bit.
fault because I made him watch Cowboy Bebop.
I
That's
was
part of it.
reading a lot of Jack Vance. He was the
And
guy
Howard?
who his most well-known work would be oh, what's it called? Sorry, I mean what's it called? Okay, basically,
Jack Vance.
Yeah, you probably haven't read Jack Vance, but you.
Not in a long time.
Mm.
But if you
I
play
only
Dungeons
know
and
him
Dragons,
because I'm dating you.
yes, but if you play Dungeons and Dragons, the entire magic system of Dungeons and Dragons is taken directly from the Dying Earth. That's his book, The Dying Earth, and Kujul the Clever, and that kind of thing. The idea of Vancian magic, the ones where you can have a where instead of like kind of casting power, you maybe have the idea that a wizard might have like 5 spells, and he's got to read them from his spell books. They burn into your brain, and once you cast it, it's gone, and it's out there. You can't them, they're just like, you can't, if you memorize a fireball spell, you can't turn it into like a little, lighter flame or a giant thing. It's just a fireball that does one thing, and once you cast it, it's gone. It needs to be re-memorized, and you can only learn a certain number of spells or memorize them depending on how good of a magician you are. That was all him. That was something he came up with in the 50s, and they took it for Dungeons and Dragons, and it worked quite well. Also, read Terry Pratchett's earlier books. That's the same one he parodies, whereas The Unseen University. What's the Pratchett book where they're like, where they're, I can't remember what the main plot is, but there's a subplot where there's this like weird fake city growing, and there's shopping centres.
Yes, I know the one you mean.
It's trees. Trees are talking about how they live so long, and it's weird because like when their friends die, it's like they die in a blink of an eye. And
yeah.
Sorry.
It's a very good book. I like it.
It was Snow Globes.
Yes.
Reaper Man.
There you go.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yes.
And but yeah, you see it in there because they're when they're talking about hurling fireballs, they're saying how they hate it because it's really restraining, because it's like, oh, I've got to choose to memorize a fireball spell, and I've only got a couple of them, and it means I can't do anything more stuff. And how many chances do you get to fling a fireball at something? So when the mages get a chance to fling fireballs at everything, of course they jump at it because that's what they've wanted to do for their entire lives.
They do that in
like,
the last
Jack Vance,
continent too.
In the last continent, they do throw a
where
lot
the
of
T-Rex
fireballs.
turns into a chicken, and he goes, "Well, shame to waste a perfectly good fireball spell."
And they start flinging fireballs all over the place.
Yeah,
when
there was, but Jack Vance and his very kind of like the really kind of like very big, very kind of it was where you got a lot of sci-fi stories, but they were they'd evolved kind of directly out of kind of like the pulp adventure stories, the kind of like planetary romance stories, the kind of the ones where it's most of the time less interested kind of the speculation side of it, oh yeah, what happens if you do this? It's less kind of like Philip Dick or Harlan Ellison, and it's more like, okay, what if we could have a really cool adventure on a different planet where people have rubber full heads and everything's weird? And Jack Vance was kind of one of the best people writing that. He does a lot of, I don't want to say purple prose, because kind of you say purple prose and you think, oh yeah, too many adverbs, too many adjectives, kind of bloated and horrible and unnecessary. But he just does really distinctive prose. It's really like, it's almost like Roald Dahl, like how like you see Roald.
Yeah,
like
you read it and you immediately recognize
every
it.
image will just get in your mind and just stick there, even though there's not many words. He has a real thing like that, and I love him, and that's kind of why I wrote Luna Princess Space. It was because I really liked his stories, and I wanted to write one like that. Ponies.
Well, it worked.
All right, another question for you.
Very energetic.
Do you remember which blog it was that you got Mr. Numbers to admit he thinks you're hot in lingerie?
That was one of Mr. Numbers blogs. That was, he was talking about
fanfic authors who he was scared of.
That was the one.
Because it was like, he's such a nice guy, but I have a feeling that if I came anywhere near him, he'd just like triangle choke me.
Back in the old days,
then,
maybe.
like
but
all
it's
things,
been,
this
it's been
came
too long
to
since I've
lingerie.
trained, and my body has been weak and fragile, and I can now only triangle choke. I could only triangle choke kind of a person if they were like, Australian and had, and drank a lot and and they couldn't get working medication for their mental illnesses because they had an impossibly powerful liver that just destroys any kind of mental illness. But actually, yeah, I probably would triangle choke Mr. Numbers. I probably, on an instinctual level, it would be like putting a mouse next to a cat. It would just happen.
I have to admit, when I met him this summer, it was very tempting, but I managed to resist the urge.
I suppose that's good. That's a definite thing. That's for me indeed.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Which urge did you manage to resist? Because there's so many.
So many urges around numbers, is that right?
There's a lot of urges around numbers.
Yeah.
Only some of them were resisted. Some of them were indulged in.
I was
Sorry,
talking
you had a golden gate time then.
Conventions that I never get to go to.
Mr. Numbers said to me
Well, it was kind of in
that
Australia.
Aragon is better looking than I am. And it was true, and it genuinely hurt me. And I feel very bad that he told the truth that Aragon is prettier than I am.
It is very hard to beat. It is very hard to beat Aragon in the eyes of Mr. Numbers.
Yes.
The two are.
In fairness, Aragon is very pretty. That's
very
not wrong
pretty.
there.
He
He
is
is
quite
very-
tempting.
he's a very attractive Spaniard. He's
There is a reason why both Numbers and Aragon are princesses in Numbers' own Discord. So.
Yeah.
I'm just
Oh,
going to sit
dude.
here and be like, yeah, I'm totally
Yeah.
okay with my boyfriend talking about all these attractive men he knows.
I'll be honest, if you weren't, I'd be worried.
well, it's like there are a lot of attractive men, but I have a more attractive girlfriend. So
Oh.
Why? You don't have to
God,
lie.
this is nearly as sappy as I am.
Okay,
Yeah.
now Scarlett, you have to lock your chair so it doesn't tip back to you.
I was like, don't fall out of your
I
chair
should
there,
explain something about my chair. This is not actually a chair. This is a piano bench sort of thing, a keyboard bench that
So
I
that
just
explains
happen
why
to
you
have. I
this.
do not own a chair.
So we need
As
to
you can see,
crowdfund to
I don't
get you a
know much of
crumpled chair to
anything.
fall
oh
out of?
babe, you need some lumbar support. You're going to wreck your back doing that.
Yeah, really.
Yes, I am.
Well, reminds me, I should
It
lean back again.
sucks.
I'm leaning
Moving
forward
on.
again.
Back is my job.
The one thing about
I
a
was waiting for that. Jesus Christ. Right,
I
carry
missed
on.
what was fun.
Don't worry, I think you'll find out about it later.
Yeah. We shan't cry.
All
Carry
right,
on.
Doug, tell me about Persimmon Spring, which I think is probably one of your most famous stories, or
Okay,
at least the one
that was-
most people talk about,
you know the title.
because they don't want to admit to reading the porn.
You know the title of
In which
A
case, why
Personal
don't
Friend?
they?
Okay, so there's this essay I really like. If there's any, is there any kind of chat thing so I can just like put a link in case anyone wants to see it? Yeah, there is. Wait a sec.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Atlantic.
I'll also post a comment in the thread.
yeah,
Or
this
something.
this chat will link internally, but we will share it on
There's an
the
internal
YouTube
chat.
and,
Yeah, there's an internal chat, there's a YouTube chat, there's Discord chat, there's a Skype chat, and there's a thread itself, and we'll post them in all these places. So
Mhm. very organized.
Wicked. Okay, anyway, I've got the
We
link.
do have
and
cross-platform
Is this
support.
anything like your essay comparing Hotline Miami to Watchmen?
No, this is a different one.
Okay.
This is an old essay. It's basically kind of this fella kind of saying that he doesn't like literary fiction as a genre. He thinks it's all a bunch of. It's basically a different type of genre. They were romance or sci-fi detective with its own trends. And actually, it's not more artistic. It's just got a bunch of very finicky tricks that make you think it's artistic. Like, I think there's a little kind of code word that kind of readers, like writers who are a little bit too pretentious but kind of know it. They like to do in their stories. I saw Raging Say did it when he's back in the fandom.
Jesus
TAW,
Christ,
they did it. Darth did it a lot.
Oh, darn.
They have a very occasional motif about persimmons, and especially about the smell of persimmons. Kind of, that's kind of the thing, or the color of that kind of thing. Does anyone here know what a persimmon smells like?
Yes,
A
actually.
miserable pile of secrets, but enough talk.
It
Have at
smells
you.
like a pear. It smells exactly like you get like a normal boring pear, a boring English pear that you'd eat and you'd throw away the core. It smells exactly like that. But if you say something, her hair had the scent of persimmons about it, you suddenly sound very literary and very like you know a lot of stuff and like you're a good writer. And that's a little bit what happened with a persimmon, like with a persimmon spring. Like I was really trying to kind of go for, you know, okay, I wasn't trying to make it too pretentious, but I did have a kind of definite thing of no, I'm not. But, so I write Gilda a lot, right? I write her a lot, and she's kind of not very well educated, and she's a lout and an oik, and she likes hitting people, and she doesn't like long words, and she's kind of a dick. I find a lot with her, you know, there's kind of a lot of stuff that I kind of cut out in my stories just because it's like, okay, yeah, that explains the concept, but that's not something she'd say. That's too fancy for her. With a person's spring, I was kind of making the effort to go the other way. I was like, actually, can I get it a bit fancier and still get it to work? And that was what I was trying to do with just a standard nice little tragedy thing. You know, the kind of nice little, you know, oh yeah, this is the loss that's kind of happened, and this is, you know, how the people are dealing with it. Here's a kind of side of an unsympathetic character that you might not have seen before, and see if we can get it all to work. Oh, also, more importantly, it was directly inspired by a story called The Elements of Opposition by Lara J. Rogers, who is, I think, one of the best writers in fandom. It's definitely my top three.
That does ring a bell.
She's fantastic. Honestly, in my
Read not the hero.
You know, you're not the hero is my favorite story on the site at the moment. It's definitely favorite ongoing story, possibly favorite story of all time. But she wrote The Elements of Opposition. That was one. He was not allowed to make chaos because, or at least not that much, because it's kind of annoying. So what he starts doing is he starts kind of hopping between dimensions and kind of finding, you know, kind of alternate areas where, you know, he never existed. And he kind of goes into these dimensions and he just pops about, makes a bit of chaos, goes away, doesn't really hurt anyone because he's only there for like 12 hours, goes back. He goes to one and he gets ganked by the elements who have been waiting for him and have now have the elements of order. They capture him, and turns out the previous Discord, who they killed, messed up their minds. They're now all kind of dicks, and so they torture the normal Discord, and it kind of turns out that something went wrong when the elements confronted the old Discord. They tried to fight him. They worried him. Discord started taking more and more drastic measures. And as it turned out, he killed Princess Cadence. He killed a whole bunch of people, most by accident, partly not. And so everything got kind of screwed up. And it was just seeing there was kind of one chapter where I was just kind of saying that, you know, Chrysalis and Shining Armor were kind of in a relationship with kind of Chrysalis acting as kind of a way to resolve Shining's mourning and horrible thoughts, and so I could start a really good story off that, so I did, and it worked out quite well.
I do want to point out that when you linked the this manifesto thing that you were talking about, Arch brought it up on his screen. I also happened to notice one of the shortcuts he has on his Chrome browser is the lyrics to the Soviet national anthem.
Oh, fuck off.
That was hidden.
Indeed.
Arch, I have an important question for you. Have you now, or have you ever been affiliated with the Communist Party?
How red
Did you vote
are
Labour in the 70s?
Well, that would have been quite impressive if I had.
That would have been quite
Are
impressive.
you with the Judean People's Front or the People's Front of Judea?
Screw the People's Front.
Well, we're the Popular
Or are
People's
you
Front
one
of
of those
Judea.
fucking splitters from the Judean Popular Front?
Ah! Sit over here.
And that was when the
No
entire
question for
stream
chat.
became a Monty Python skit.
I would be okay with this.
I think it already was.
None of us are the Messiah.
When there's
Stream
too
is
many
dead.
Brits in
I would like to
one
return
thing,
it.
it's all going to devolve into Monty Python.
It's
I'd
an
imagine it's the same with
extreme.
Americans. Get too many of those, and you'll just get Family Guy or South Park type humor.
Oh dear.
And that's bad.
It's true. It's true. This is an extreme. Oh dear. Right.
I mean, we you know, Pav did die, but then got better. So it's like
You did get better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't get run over, so you know, close enough to dead. Oh
I'm
dear.
very glad you guys were all alive.
You should probably ask the next question before this goes any further.
yes, good idea. Well done.
These are pretty tepid side tangents, though.
This is
We've done far worse
low
than that.
levels of faffery. You know, it gets much worse. Prepare.
Or better, depending on your
It's
perspective.
true. It's true.
I mean, to be fair, last time I think I was the source of about half the faffery. Bringing up my significant other has probably increased my desire to be semi-professional by like 2,000%.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. I mean, you're acting like the PR manager and everything like that. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's normally my
Because
job.
this man in this stream
Because it's necessary.
is not aware of how genius he is, and I exist mainly to make sure
You
his
are the
ego
hype
doesn't
team.
collapse
It,
under self-deprecation.
I have the best fans.
he really does need to be told, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's true.
He really does.
I mean, we are talking to Arch.
have very, very good
married one of his fan fiction readers. Like, him and his wife met.
I have
through fan
dreams!
fiction. Yeah, no, Arch is living the dream. His wife read his fan fictions, and that's how they met.
Yeah, the only reason she
Say
talked to me actually is because she couldn't find the second part, and it's like, oh, well, I'll send it to you.
Fucking romantic as fuck.
Can we get married? Okay.
Because I made my FimFiction account originally to leave a review on one of his porn stories. I'm not lying.
Well, there we go. There we go.
Fairness, that
I'm
was one of my,
expecting an invite to the fucking wedding.
Yes,
that was
me
one of
too.
my ones where I'd put effort into it. So you know, that's not bad. That's like renting out like Anais Nin from the I pronounced that wrong. I'm sorry. From the library rather than renting E.L. James from the library again.
So what was the first one again?
Anais Nin.
Why have I never read this person?
I don't recognize
I'm
the name.
missing out.
Type.
So I'm putting it in. So
Ferret's
you can
gone.
see what.
Yeah, Ferret disappeared.
Oh,
Anais Nin.
I've never heard of this person. I'm gonna go and look them up now.
Yeah.
His name was.
Anais Nin. Ah.
Oh, Bonnie
A
1903.
nice
Ninja. Anyway, were we asking questions?
We were,
Other questions?
but now we've lost our interviewer, so someone else has to ask one.
Okay. Random
what drew
thing
you
from
to
the
write
chat.
for Gilda so much?
Yeah.
What do I write for Gilda?
Gilda's awesome.
I just
Yeah, it's fine,
empathise
great.
deeply with someone who
Finds Pinkie Pie annoying.
has strong dislike of intense social situations and a strong taste for punching. It just speaks to me.
You are speaking my language, so.
Also, I think it would be really, really cool at retractable claws. I just love that. That would be if I had those. So I really, yeah, that'd be brilliant. So
Now I have to
Oh, that-
fantasize about you retractable claws for the next 13
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go.
Oh,
Poke,
the
poke,
furries
poke,
are
poke.
invading.
There we go.
Okay, we're
we
good.
never left.
That's what I have to say. What do you
Right.
mean invading?
Oh, also speaking of ancient fandom stuff, there was a. I actually think the thing that got me writing a fair bit of Gilda was, do any of you remember a fella called Potato Joe?
The name sounds
Joe.
familiar.
It doesn't ring a
Okay,
bell
so
with
very
me.
long story, and it was about Applejack takes an apple pie to right. Princess Celestia invites Applejack to some fancy meeting. Apple pie is served. Applejack tastes some. She spits out, and she has because she had apple pie taste is so refined that she cannot eat anything but the perfect apple pie. and she kind of explains in detail, you know, how you make kind of the perfect apple pie. And once this is over, half the nobles kind of come up to Applejack and like, can we get your kind of details on how to make good apple pie? Can we get your kind of details on catering? Can we get a contract for catering from you and that kind of thing? And it's kind of clear that, you know, that Celestia has kind of orchestrated this as a favour to Applejack, whereas Applejack at first, you know, thought it was the intimidating thing that would always crash down in the face. He wrote that as a kind of big one, and he wrote another one, which was
This is the author of History's Greatest Monster, isn't it?
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
the one.
I remember this guy. Yeah,
Okay.
That was a good
Yeah.
pick.
yeah.
And
it's
he wrote one where
wax fruit.
Gilda came back to Ponyville and was
Gilda versus Knitting. Is that the
that's
one?
the one. That's the fact. It never
That's
got
the
finished. And I got highly inspired by that because I too like Gilda and eating meat and never finishing my stories.
Yeah, it's been unfinished since January 2012. Ooh.
Cool.
Ooh.
Then there's your best shot as well. I quite enjoyed that one.
Wait, isn't that an Lara J. Rogers story? In that one about Discord and fighting Twilight?
I don't know about that one. No, this is the Potato Joe, your best shot. Twilight. The cover art has Twilight with Discord bits.
Ah.
Nice. I'm just looking at all of his stories, and oh my god, all of them are so old.
I know.
All of
It's
them
very
are so
strange
old.
reading
I
old
feel
fandom stuff
old.
because you can kind of it's
Jesus
like
Christ. The History's
you
Greatest
know how like
Monster.
when you knock through the like you go down to Cornwall and you look at the cliffs and you see all the layers like Durdledor, and you see all those layers of all the different bits of shale, and you'd be like, okay, that's where, you know, the dinosaurs were. That's where the dinosaurs stopped being alive. That's when the chickens came back, all that kind of thing. You can kind of do that with fandom sometimes.
No,
You'll be
absolutely,
reading like a really old bit of fan fiction, and you'll just see like a reference to something like
20%
Luna's
cooler.
Exodus.
Yeah. Like if a story includes 20% cooler, chances are it was written in 2011, 2012, because no stories after that use that. I
I'm
just
gonna
want to
put that
point
into one of
out.
my
I'm
stories.
back.
Okay, so
Hey!
okay, everyone here is aware of History's Greatest Monster, right?
Which one?
The story History's Greatest Monster by Twilight with featuring
Yeah.
Twilight Sparkle. How
I
long
know there are
ago?
plenty of candidates.
How long ago did it last update? Don't look it up.
I have no flipping idea.
I was already looking at it, so I'm not going to answer.
I've never actually read it, so pass.
Ditto.
I'm going to say 4 years and 6 months.
Drum roll, please.
April 2030. Jesus fucking Christ. I swear that was in a feature box like 5 months ago.
It certainly might have been.
It feels like it was. That
April
was a really good
2030.
pick.
It was.
God, it's just.
I remember seeing it in the feature box multiple times, and then eventually being sort of coerced into reading it by that, and it's just like, yeah, this is really good, but Jesus
It was such a
fucking
great
Christ.
concept. It's like, okay,
2030.
Twilight just wakes up in an alternate universe where she's evil, and she's like, oh God, how do I deal with this?
Yeah, it's fucking great.
I have
That's
to
fella
pretend it's
who,
evil.
he wrote that one fic about Celestia getting changed back into a child.
Oh, of course.
Right.
Or
Which
Twilight getting changed
one?
back into a child. No, it was the really long, and it was the big one. Like it was, there were lots of ones where that happened, but this was the really big one.
All right.
Not offhand.
No, it was Celestia being changed back into a child, and it was a prank by Luna, and there was a weird thing where one of Pinkie Pie's ancestors was
I vaguely
necromancer.
remember that. Oh God, what was
Might
that
have been
called?
insert author here who wrote it.
Oh no, you see, the thing
I
is,
remember reading that and being like, because that was one of the ones that I remember reading when it first came out, and then rereading and being like, oh yeah, you're starting to see that kind of like pattern of. It's like when you watch Seinfeld or Friends, and you're just like, okay, this no longer seems for me because so many people copied it that I've lost the ability to
My
absorb.
Little
It's-
Alicorn.
oh God,
That's
Yes.
What a title.
Wow, that was an early fandom fic.
It's like-
still
yeah.
just my little blank.
it's in a more general sense, it's like Citizen Kane, which was a groundbreaking film in so many ways, but most people today...
You see it nowadays, and you just think that
it's like, okay, that's not special, that's not special. What's special about this film? You know, it's
like Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings was absolutely fantastic for its time period, but nowadays, well, The Pros was never fantastic.
Last year. This time period was last year.
But nowadays, the world building in of Middle Earth is relatively generic. You know, like it's the
relatively
story
generic in the sense that everybody stole half of Tolkien's ideas.
Oh my God.
Basically.
If you ever want to, one of the things I've very slowly been getting into the idea of being someone who writes like original fiction, where people give me money for doing that. And the actual thing that compelled me into doing that, it wasn't some like big artistic moment where I saw something beautiful and thought, oh my God, I want to create something as brilliant as that, because that would have happened a while ago, because I've seen a lot of those things in my funny fan, because you're all brilliant. That goes for you a lot, Arconic. So I love a lot of your work. It seriously fueled me beyond, you're responsible for a lot of stuff I've done. Anyway, but just saying, but
hold on, wait.
Anyway, so I'm just saying, what inspired me to actually get into writing as a thing, what people would pay me for, wasn't reading good stuff. It was reading really bad stuff. It was reading, like the worst one is David Eddings, who I hate and hope dies. I hope he falls down the stairs and hits his head, and he lives just long enough to think, "Ow, that really hurt," and then he dies. If you read, like, I've ragged on about how I found like writing action scenes hard, because you don't really know what you're writing, and it's easy to kind of make things take place in a void, and it's easy to kind of repeat kind of descriptions. And I swear to God, David Eddings refers to the slack-lipped servant about fucking 400 times per book, and his biggest fear, fake Muslims, and he writes. Okay, the fact that he really doesn't like fake Muslims, and he actually writes that they're kind of stupid because they're in the sun too much, is kind of like horrible, but expected. But like the thing that really creeps me out about him is he writes in like a really weird way about like fake Jews. Like he's got all these characters who are like fake magical Jews, and he's weird about them. Like, okay, so like sometimes, like when you're going out, you'll be going out, and and like any kind of like self-respectable bloke, you'll enjoy fucking both men and women. So you're bisexual, like a normal person, and then sometimes you'll see these straight women who it's very strange, and they'll act a bit weird about it, because they'll be like, "Oh, you're bisexual? Oh yeah, could have a threesome?" And it's just a little bit like, "No, I'm not a sex puppet. Please." And just the way he talks about Jews, or not Jews, whatever he calls them, people who are like his not Christians, but not
magic.
I fucking hate David Eddings, and he's terrible, and he sold so many books, and they're all shit. And I just read it, and I just thought, I can get right in. If he can make a killing doing this, I could run fucking circles around that prick. Also, the best terrible version is a fella called Raymond Feist, and I have never gone into a bookstore with a fancy section and not seen like 4 of his books there.
Oh yeah.
And I highly recommend that, just if you're planning to ever write anything fancy, just get I can't remember what it's called, the Rift War. Just go get Rift War and have a look at it. It's
Rift War, yeah.
It's a bad book, and it's not very good, but it's like if you wrote a Happy Meal, but it's not bad. But you can very much tell that he read Tolkien, and he really liked Tolkien, and he wanted to write Tolkien fan fiction, and he did write Tolkien fan fiction, and he filed the serial numbers off, and he sold it. You know, he's got your old wizard fella who comes from another dimension, kind of, or maybe is an angel, and he looks like Gandalf, and he smokes a pipe. You know, you've got your kind of your Pippin and your Frodo. There is a ranger who hangs out with Elk, and he's also like secretly the prince of the throne prince and that kind of thing. Like he sees
Is
the
this
kid. Like
kind of like
he just
Aragon to Star Wars kind of thing.
yes.
I remember
it's
seeing.
that like that. That's perfect. That's
See,
I
I was going to say 50 Shades of Grey to Twilight.
That's brilliant.
I remember seeing like cover art of his stories in the library, and the first thing I thought was that this looks almost exactly like, that the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings.
It honestly it's weird because actually when you think about the plot, like the plot is very different because like the Rift War, the first couple of Rift War books, what they're all, it's actually no, it's not like he's a big Tolkien fanboy. It's like he's a Tolkien fanboy that really got into anime. Because it's a Rift War, and the Rift War is what brings the Tolkien XPs who all live in fancy England directly into contact with genuine, absolute samurai XPs. Like not even a little bit of change. Like, there's no real wizardry with. They're just samurais. They have samurai arms. They have samurai swords. They do.
Of course.
They do the Japanese World War II war crimes. That's what they are. It's what it is.
I wrote stuff like this when I was 15.
Most people do.
I didn't.
I'm just sitting here kind of thinking, like, I always assumed that Tolkien fanboy who got into anime resulted in
he gets money for selling books, and
I
just
am
think
actually
that
disappointed
fella
now.
can get that money for
Hearing
selling
that there's an
books,
alternative.
books and get money for that.
Yeah, it's weird. You can actually kind of. Go ahead.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, you can actually kind of like tell when somebody has written something. You can kind of tell whether they were trying to ape the success of someone else or striking out on their own. Because I sympathize with that. I went through like a whole year where I got most of my inspiration from reading horrible stories and then being like, I'm gonna do this but better.
So basically, it's J.P. Jaxie's Bioshock one that he wrote because he hated Aquaman's.
I didn't have to say it.
He's openly admitted to this. I think it says in the fucking description. I wrote this because of Aquaman.
Somewhere, yeah, basically, yeah. Basically that, I guess.
Are you sure he wasn't misspelling Ayn Rand?
Jack, I got another question for you from Steinwolf.
So many shots.
Steinwolf.
What is the hardest what was the hardest story to write for you?
Oh, that was that's actually the hardest story to write for me is two stories that I haven't yet finished.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There was one that I was doing for another fan, Not Worthy, who's been a fantastic fan and has always given some brilliant comments on my stuff and has always been a kind of big help in my writing.
Yeah.
Shout out Not Worthy, if you did it, you're brilliant. But I've got there was a thing I was doing for them, and it was basically a story about kind of Apple Bloom. She has a QC mark.
Oh, the burnout story. I forgot about that.
Experience with like post QC mark burnout when she's doing her whole, help people get their kind of QC mark stuff, and things go wrong, and she can't work it anymore. She's driving Sweet Belle and Scooby-Doo crazy, and she worries that she might have picked the wrong talent, and it's about her meeting Cora and getting back into alchemy, and it's basically a story about kind of self-recovery from stress-inflicted burnout, and that was something I worked on.
And ironically, right in the middle of that, Chuck experienced stress-inflicted burnout.
Yeah,
Christ, of course.
Very literally, like I was getting messages from him like, I can't make the Sakura scene work, and finally I had to tell him like, you need to take a break.
Just step away from the story.
We write what we know.
This is true. And there was another one. There was a story that never really. I wouldn't even call it a proper story because it never got out of the couple of pages stage. But I did try writing it about 4 different times, and it was a story trade with a dog, which neither of us finished our pieces for it.
Oh dear.
The legendary story
we agreed to have a story trade, and neither of us could actually kind of complete the bits that we asked for, although we then both did end up writing fics that were based on something they'd done as a kind of homage to each other. Darth's was better than mine because he is a very good writer. If he's still alive. I hope he is.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, and another one was actually there's one of my commissions that I've got. You know that one, the one about Luna's desk.
Yep.
Oh yes.
This one.
Yeah.
I remember it
was,
because wait a minute. Why
That
haven't
was
you
a
finished that one?
teaser for a big story, and that was the biggest story was commission. I refunded the money for the commission because I do intend to finish it, but I just got everything kind of went wrong when I was kind of doing that, and it's just
that was another really bad burnout, and that was in the middle of was it in the middle of Jess moving in for the first time?
Well, now that was the thing is, like, even after Jess, so I've got my cousin Jess, and she moved in with me, and it's brilliant. I love her, but you know, she's had all the problems I've had, but like all on a higher difficulty level. Kind of like I'm playing on easy, and she's playing on ultra nightmare.
Oh dear.
You know, kind of like, we both have depression. My depression is treatable by fluoxetine. Her depression is made worse by fluoxetine, and she needs to go through like 4 different SSRIs before she finds one that works. And you know,
thank God for SSRIs.
Yeah, that's been a lot of things. That was what that was after our one of our other best friends moved. It was a someone from Seattle. It was living in the same town as us. And she moved back to Seattle, and kind of after that, you know, it was like, it just didn't do well for Jess, you know, kind of having, you know, thing is, I'm bad at being sociable, and I write a lot, and I'm very bad at writing when other people are around, so.
I know that feeling.
Kind of patches things, but anyway, yeah. But I do have that, and that is a story I intend to complete. I've just found it difficult, you know, and that's a
real life got in the
way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So real life took precedent, and this is why, incidentally, I am not crazy about people going like, "Why haven't you finished your stories?" Well, people.
Oh, actually, Nat Scarlett, because you've actually seen me writing, because I kind of forget what it was like kind of writing stories. What stories do you remember me complaining about the most while I've been kind of writing them?
Oh my God.
That's a good question.
You have too many stories. Can we list the ones you haven't complained about? Because it's probably a shorter list. Most of your stories that were not... Your stories go in one of 2 directions. You either get them done, like, literally the night you start writing them, or they turn into a small nightmare for a few days until they're done. That's generally the period. But, like,
that's the
of the ones you complained about, Banishment Decree has been a source of pain to the point where Banishment Decree is basically on an indefinite hiatus until we figure out what to do to resuscitate
my version of Garfield.
Oh, God. What? That's saying
Banishment
something.
Decree.
Jesus Christ.
By the way, just for record, people, this is how harshly he grades himself. He considers Banishment Decree his Garfield.
Yeah.
This is funny. Do you see why he needs me around?
It's terrible, but I like it.
Jesus Christ.
Look,
it is not terrible. I will come over there and I will hug you until you learn to love yourself and your work.
Don't worry, Scarlett, I'll come with you.
Does. And there is a kind of genius in that.
I might join in too.
Dude,
it's going to be a 4-way hug, and we're just gonna crush you under our combined positivity. And
dude, come to BronyCon.
It's gonna be
just like a massive.
BronyCon, everyone will hug you.
And good people and handsome
times.
Yeah. Just want to point out when Chuck said that you had inspired him in some way, I did zoom in on your face.
That's not bad. Good job. Good job.
Carry on, Ferret.
Tell me about the mare and her list.
Mare and her list. Honestly, that was. God, that is a blast from the past. That was a speed writing challenge for me. That was a story. I completed it in an hour and 10 minutes. There was nothing you know the story A Clockwork Orange, and when you ever talk to your fellow who wrote it, Anthony Burgess, he's always like, no, that was just shit I wrote for money. That was, it's the same there, you know. It's an alright action scene, I think, but it was just that. It was just intended to be an action scene with no. Well, I intend that to go on the action, you know, in terms of like, oh yeah, this happens, this looks cool, that's very bloody, that's violent. But there's no thematic or artistic or anything like that vision behind it. It's just a test of my writing speed and my ability to write violence, which is a hobby of mine.
There are worse hobbies to have.
Oh, by the way, do you want me to talk about the stuff specifically that Arconix does that I found really useful in writing? And
fantastic.
Yes.
Let me just
Yes,
bring up Archer's
do.
face. Right. Carry on.
But yeah, no, I found like one of the things that's always really
I'm gonna turn bright red now.
Yeah.
okay. So
Go on.
I read a lot of fantasy, and the thing about fantasy is it's like I said, you know, you can. It's very easy to see a lot of fantasy books, a lot of popular fantasy books, and you just see, okay, this is what someone who knows the English language would write if you fed him a bunch of Tolkien stories and didn't feed him anything else, and he just remixed them. It's something. It's like you could almost kind of program a Makarov chain to do it. You know, you can just stick in a bunch of these verbs. You get a bunch of these verbs out. Here's your fantasy story. Here's your arc. Here it is. Done. Arconix doesn't do that. There's the. Well, it's definitely a kind of fancy verse that he's writing in. You know, he never. I always think, you know, in my work, you know, sometimes I will just say, no, I'm not really bothering with fantasy here. You know, this is just taking place in basically, you know, a real life espionage universe, kind of like fancy aspects. But Arconix kind of never really does that. You know, it's always clear that, you know, there's always the world building, but it's the world integration. It's the very much like, oh yeah, I know these things about academics. I know these things about I think the thing that he wrote that kind of really hooked me was it was the various chapters he did for one of the Leroverse spin-offs, and it was just like just all the different little things, like the like the fact that kind of like handheld video cameras weren't a big thing in Equestria kind of when you're writing a story. So it's kind of cool, new, interesting little magic power technology and kind of how they're interacting with it, going like there. And then kind of the next chapter is an actual, you know, an academic study. And then, but like, there's different academic studies. It's not just, oh yeah, here's my academic's voice. It's like, oh yeah, here's the thing as you expect to read it in a sociology text. Here's the thing as you expect to read it, but it would be an abstract for an actual, you know, just a research paper with the same kind of clipped shorthand and the kind of the very kind of like dense, you know, we expect you to kind of like know what this is immediately because you're of course a scientist who has also read all the basic material in this area, you know, think of kind of scientific abstract and kind of the real like, I mean, all literature kind of borrows from a lot of places. You know, it's if you read like Pratchett, who is amazing and I love. You know, he's you read his first books and they're brilliant, and then you go and read the Thieves' World anthology by Robert Lynn, and you realize, oh, actually, this is a straight up kind of like it's like imagine if you'd seen like what's it called, The Naked Gun, without having seen Rambo. You know, or like seen any, but it's like, you know, you don't know it's a parody yet because you haven't seen the kind of source material it's parodying. And like Pratchett's like, because he did draw a bunch of influences and then he kind of built it into a bigger world. And so like influences are kind of like a good thing. I'm rambling, I'm sorry, but
yes, but it's fascinating, really. Please don't stop.
But it's a case of kind of how big a set of things that you're kind of stealing from. Are you stealing the very surface aspects? Are you kind of just saying, oh yeah, well, you know, you've got your ranger and he's like the prince's son, and you've got people and they're good. There's this woman, she's a strong female character because she doesn't like other women and thinks they're shit. Oh
God, I know that character. I hate her so much.
Or you have like, oh yeah, no, this is, you know, actually, yeah, I know what kind of academics like in the real world. You know, what would it be like if they were little horses and they're, you know, you know, what would it be like, you know, what's the difference in kind of like drinking taste when you're a kind of horse and actually the things like juniper berries and that kind of thing are actually kind of really nice and kind of, you know, you would would gin be more popular than whiskey or whatever. It's just really kind of like the intense love of crafting the things that exist in a place, that kind of, the thing that kind of that either comes from kind of like diligently kind of researching what you want to write, so it kind of builds in really well, or just knowing about something in your life and being passionate enough that you're like, okay, I will integrate this other thing that I've done and build it around this. And I've seen it in like quite a few kind of like fiction writers. As I said, like Jack Vance, one of the reasons I love him, he does it a fair bit. And like Iconics was kind of one of the main people I saw doing the My Little Pony fandom, and it was just a few times I just really was a huge fan of that, and it really, I've done a lot of times where I just think, how would Iconics write this? And I've tried to do that.
Speaking of which, now we have to. You realize now I'm going to have to
Archie's
like
just going to ascend to heaven now.
Every glance at Luna's desk was me just thinking, hey, well, what if I was Iconics, but Somerset, and then I did it.
I like.
Yeah, that was. So yeah, that's why I'm a big fan of kind of current stuff. I would consider it one kind of really big
so far away, I can't
in the
hug
fandom.
Everybody go to Garrett's house. We all need hugs.
Yep.
I'll load the car. We can all drive across the Atlantic.
Speaking of Terry Pratchett, a couple of people have really felt that his last couple of books weren't as solid as his previous stuff. Do you think that's the case or no?
I haven't actually read Snuff, or I haven't read Snuff, and I haven't read what's the other one?
Making Steam, yeah.
Yeah, Making Steam.
Yeah.
The Shepherd's Crown was his last one.
Yeah, yes. I've not read that one either.
No,
That seems
That's
I don't know how far back
part
to
of
go,
Making
but I remember,
Steam,
you know,
but I haven't read
he was trying
Shepherd's
to get
Crown.
I think it's a different thing. I think that's kind of actually, I hugely disagree, because I think if you go back and you read his early work, and especially if you go back and you read his early work, and you know the specific things that he's doing spoofs of.
Yes,
it's good. You know, he's quite a good comedian. He's quite a good kind of writer, but it doesn't get kind of like the. But in the end, he wasn't just a good comedian and a good spoof artist. You know, he basically kind of, you know, he did a little bit of spoofing, but really he was an incredible word builder. He did incredible kind of characters. He was a very, very good kind of moral philosopher. You know, I kind of think that there's that kind of really famous thing going around, you know, the Granny Weatherwax quote, where it's kind of the definition of evil is treating people like things. And I think actually, you know, if you're kind of looking at kind of, you know, literary figures who kind of wrote really, really well on the human condition,
Yeah.
I think you'll be looking a lot less at kind of, you know, people like Cormac McCarthy and Don DeLillo, and a lot more at people like Terry Pratchett, because they did, you know, although they kind of dressed up in kind of very, you know, easy to read and very like going and enjoyable kind of reads, you know, they thought about it more than.
I've always thought that's why
Reaper Man's speech, the death speech in the Reaper Man, is absolutely phenomenal. I know Golden Vision likes to rant about that at every single opportunity.
There's that one, and there's a speech in The Hogfather, where he
about the importance of belief.
Because how can you believe in justice and mercy when they're abstract concepts if you can't even believe in
a magic
man? And it was one of those
Santa hats, yeah.
I thought that was a very like telling moment especially for Pratchett.
No, like absolutely. Like I remember a lot of work. I used to be able to quote that directly, that entire speech, and about break down the universe into the finest dust and run it through the finest sieve, and find me a single iota of justice. And it's like, wait.
But in fairness, though, if you break down things that much and broke down things too much, you wouldn't be able to find a single iota of cocoa powder.
Yeah, you'd be an auditor at that point.
This is true.
Like, working down paintings to find the art.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I can rant so much about Raising Steam. I mean, a lot of people say that it was it showed that his mind was decaying and all this kind of
Raising
stuff.
Steam.
It was a great book, and there is a single line in it about halfway through that tells exactly what that book is, and it tells exactly what that story is. It's where Moist von Litwig is on the footplate of the steam engine, and they're running along, and he watches some little cottages on the rail embankment that just rush past, and think something along the lines of a railway is a lot of very small stories that you see for a moment, and that is what that entire book was. It was a lot of very small stories that you saw for a moment. I mean, it was a lot of ways. It was Terry Pratchett saying goodbye to his world, but he did that by creating a future for it along the railway, and by setting that story up as a lot of very small stories that you see for a moment. So it rushes through everything. The whole thing was just one gigantic rush towards a destination. It's a railway. You know, I mean, I can fucking go on about that for hours.
Yeah.
I have to read Rising Steam now.
Diggers
I
was
need
shit.
to reread it because I read
Diggers.
it in pieces.
Oh, you do not talk shit about Diggers.
No, Truckers was brilliant. And the third one that I can't remember the name of, that was the Bromeliad, that was great.
Wings.
But the second one was boring.
It's Truckers,
it was like
Diggers,
the
Wings.
season of The Walking Dead.
I
Everyone
know.
was sad and cold.
I have no idea what we're talking about anymore, so I'm going to respectfully abstain.
I know for a fact that Fulamancer swears by all of the amazing Morris and his educated rodents.
They are very good books. Yes.
Yeah.
Wait,
I haven't read that one.
Oh, amazing!
Well, there's one amazing.
Oh
Morris
my
book.
god, I've only read the first one! Why
I'll
has
tell
no
you
one told me about this?
Shall I tell you what is one
What
of the
have I
very
been doing
best?
with my life?
Well,
What
it's
is
one of
the
the
very
most
best
interesting Terry Pratchett books. Is
Uh-huh.
this one called? Well, there's two. It's two of his very early stories. One called "Dark Side of the Sun,"
Yes.
which
I
was
couldn't get into that one.
a spoof of an Asimov story.
Yeah.
And
Which is
all
a
that.
good reply because I don't like Asimov.
Yeah, I can see why you wouldn't. It's kind of a sort of Marmite thing going on there. But the other one is this one called Strata, which
I've seen that. I've not read it, but I've seen
it's
it.
good. It's good. It's interesting. It's embryonic Pratchett, basically. It's because he introduces this concept of a world that is a disc and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But he goes into all these other things like maintaining traditions in order to maintain the sanity of the unconscious and all this kind of stuff. And I've had too much to drink, so I can't really explain. But it's a really good book. It's only about that thick, so
Yeah.
it's not too long
So
to
now I
read.
have to read like a ton of Pratchett, which is just the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Oh my god.
Obviously.
Just absolutely the worst.
And to make it even worse, before he passed, or I think I passed, his publishing company released a whole bunch of short story collections that was stuff that he wrote when he was like 18 for the local paper.
Really?
I
Wow.
haven't seen
And
this
literally,
one.
like Arch was talking about embryonic Pratchett, this is like literally the first stuff he ever wrote, and you can still see signs of what his writing turned into. You know, there's still the footnotes, there's still those beautiful little phrases and pieces, and I think there's even the precursor to Digger in it, or he's in the book I've got.
Wow. I'm gonna have to look
pretty
these
great.
up now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're absolutely
no.
fantastic. The one I've got is the Dragons of Crumbling Castle, and that's the one that has the Diggers.
Beautiful.
The Digger's precursor.
I'm
there's like
feeling
4.
a vast urge to go and reread the entire Esme Weatherwax series.
Yes.
they're-
Oh, I love
they're-
the witches.
As like Weatherwax is fantastic, as Chuck was saying, she's fantastic for these little snippets of golden insight into the way the world works.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you ignore
I think
equal
that's my
rights,
But
Well,
I think
I liked Equal Rights.
like,
yeah, it's good.
Pratchett's kind of
I
really
have
good.
no
So I think
idea.
he
Equal Rights
is
was the
like-
first
he's
Pratchett
got
book I
a
ever
kind
read.
of like character maker and philosopher and world builder. Like he's better at kind of making characters and making philosophy and building words. He's better at kind of making like a working world than Douglas Adams was. But
Yeah.
I think Douglas
Uh-huh.
Adams generally got better, like punchy comedy, better one-liners, better that kind of thing. I think one of the times where like Terry Pratchett has done some things, I think, yeah, actually that's as good as anything Adams ever did. And one of those bits was the bit where it's saying about Granny Weatherwax. She didn't need to. A lot of people could make cutting remarks. Granny Weatherwax could listen in a cutting way. She could make something just like
I
hearing
know
it.
what you're talking about. Yeah.
like Pratchett to me, it's like really smart, really intelligent, really fancy fantasy world building dressed in casual clothes. Like there's an air throughout it of just casual, light-hearted poking fun of Tolkien and other authors and all these various religions. You know, there's a god of atheism and all that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, he's funny.
He's funny. But underneath this skin of light-hearted comedy and poking fun, and you know, first of all, his parody was never mocking. It was always very light-hearted and very kind.
Very affectionate.
Yeah,
He liked everything he parodied.
Loving.
no, absolutely. Yeah. He never parodied anything in a cruel way. But like beneath this thin veneer of parody is a really, really deep world. Like not only in the way that it's built and that it's got layers upon layers of different interlocking things, and you've got all these stories that intertwine with each other, and you can say, "Hey, I remember this event from that story he wrote 20 fucking years ago." But there's also the fact that there are these little nuggets every now and again where you just the veneer slips and you see this really fucking spot on philosophy shining through, and it's like
it's all the granite underneath. Yeah,
like the gaudy paint chips away and you see the real actual philosophy beneath all of this, and it's like that
was
this
why
world's
I
good
enjoyed
shit.
Unseen Academicals so much. Was because
Yes.
it really felt like it was just, you know, the story about the crab bucket. And, you know, that she shone even in the dark.
Unseen Academicals.
Yeah, I love that one with
That
Nut.
was.
I think Pratchett is like, he's going to be my case study as far as if I ever write some kind of big essay about literature, Pratchett will be the start point, because if I ever write one, the topic will probably be why I think popular fiction is generally more important to look at and more effective at communicating things about the human condition and human morality than obscure fiction. Because fiction that deliberately tries to sort of close itself off,
put on airs.
You mean the literature?
It's not even putting on airs. It's just acknowledging that, like, I don't like to think of avant-garde fiction so much as putting on airs, because that implies that avant-garde fiction isn't cool and that there isn't something worthwhile in it. Because I think a lot of avant-garde fiction, I say this like I read a lot of it, and I don't, but I understand that people are able to read avant-garde fiction and find something good within it, and until I am as read in the genre as they are, I don't want to contradict them.
That's fair.
But I also think that avant-garde fiction ages badly.
Yes.
Very badly, very quickly.
It's very
because
dependent
it's often
on the time it was written, and unfortunately, it doesn't last well.
Like there is sometimes, because the whole thing about avant-garde is it's quote unquote ahead of its time sort of thing, but it's often a time that never comes.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Tomorrow's World and all these things where you've got robots with big crabby claws that say, "Hello, master, I am the Robo Butler," and that never happened. That's not the future.
Wasn't Tomorrow's World? Wasn't that the one where Pierce Brosnan killed Rupert Murdoch with a drill?
Possibly.
All I know is
there was a James Bond. There was Terry Hatcher, and she got shot by a fella, and
Terry
then
Hatcher.
Rupert Murdoch.
The world is not enough. Yeah, no. Tomorrow's World.
Yeah, no.
Tomorrow's World was the television program where they showed us CDs and they didn't work.
Yeah, and they had robots with brains in them and all sorts of things like that.
The Prime Minister had to have sex with a pig.
That's Black Book, yeah.
That's the darkest possible timeline. So.
I don't
The one
think
we're
he's
in.
forced into anything.
Oh wait, no,
The
we're in the one
darkest
where he
of all
did it
time.
voluntarily.
Look, it doesn't count. I don't like David Cameron, but I think he gets a lot of stick for that because, I mean, it doesn't count if it's dead. That's just enjoying your bacon.
There is enjoyment of bacon.
Stream over.